Do you ever spiral in your thinking and these little problems all start to gang up on you? And before you know it, it feels like there's an octopus kind of ripping you apart. It can keep you up at night. Imagine like you're trying to go to bed and get some rest so you can face all the challenges tomorrow. But one by one, all of these to-do list items or the conflict that you're having at home or the conflict you're having at work just start to feel very overwhelming. And now you can't sleep, which just adds a bigger problem to your problems because you got to go to work tomorrow and you know you won't be rested. This kind of overthinking, this spiraling in your thinking, it can happen to any of us. Some of us may be a little more prone to that. But today we're going to talk about some techniques that we can start to employ to regain our peace in life, our happiness, and get in control of our thinking before it controls us. Look, I get it. You've got a long to-do list. I've got a long to-do list. And sometimes these items, they start to creep up when you don't want them to. Not when I'm trying to work on them, but when I'm trying to relax, when I'm trying to spend time with my family or trying to rest. And then before you know it, these little problems all start to snowball into this big problem. And I feel anxious and panicked. I need to talk to somebody. And what do you think? Does this make sense? And this is so exhausting. And the reality is that sometimes we don't make our best decisions when we're in this anxious, heavy, weighed down frame of mind. A lot of times we make our best decisions when everything's okay. We're sort of more tuned into our wisdom thinking. Well, today we're going to talk about in this video why this happens and then what we can do to sort of back out of this cul-de-sac and be able to approach our problems with a little bit more grace, a little bit more peace of mind, and a lot more wisdom. Okay, the first thing I want to draw your attention to is the simple problem of overthinking. I know you got this great mind in your head that thinks through all your problems and you start to really trust it. But here's what happens. Imagine that you're trying to relax and then you're thinking about this phone call you have to have tomorrow and you're wondering how it's going to go. And then that starts to lead into more items on your to-do list tomorrow. And pretty soon you start to feel overwhelmed. Why do I have to do all these things? Why do I have to make these phone calls? And what if it doesn't work out right? Or what if I lose my job? And what starts as a little problem starts to escalate. And before you know it, you feel completely overwhelmed. And you feel frustrated, you feel anxious, maybe you feel panicky, or maybe you just feel angry, irritated, and frustrated. What starts as a simple thought about a phone call can easily escalate into an overwhelming, panicky, angry, frustrated feeling. It turns into like a mental marathon. The more you think, the worse you feel. But you feel like you've got to focus your attention on this because this problem's not just going to go away on its own. This negative spiral in your thinking can, if you're not careful, take up a lot of real estate in your mind and even take up lots of time, maybe hours, and drain your energy and leave you feeling anxious and depleted. The second thing that we need to look at is when this starts to happen, when your thoughts start to get heavy or overwhelming, we need to catch it early. We need to catch ourselves in that moment and recognize what's happening before it starts to take over, before we start to feel overwhelmed by all of this. Recognize that this is happening. You need to notice that your thoughts are going in this direction before they start to build momentum. Recognize the train as leaving the station before it starts to get going full speed. As you feel your mind beginning to race, you need to pause and take control of that moment. For example, instead of letting your thoughts run wild like they normally would, you might notice you're overthinking and then literally stop yourself and say this to yourself, wow, there I go again. Just that little phrase of, wow, there I go again. What it does is it brings recognition to what's happening. It sort of separates your mind from what's happening to your mind. You're recognizing that this event is spiraling out of control. And so you stop yourself and you go, wow, there I go again, letting things run wild. There I go again, spiraling down in my thinking, getting panicky, worried, or frustrated. And you stop this before it has gained all of the traction like it normally would. So this gives you power to start to shift your focus away from what you're feeling overwhelmed about into something more positive. And the third thing we want to mention is that when you recognize that your thinking is getting a little bit overwhelming, you want to shift your thinking away to something else. Relax your thinking. You want to try to focus on something positive if possible, like, wow, I'm just so glad that I have a job. Or, wow, I'm so glad that I remembered that I have to make that phone call tomorrow. And realize this, that if there is a legitimate problem here, it's not going to go away simply because you shift your thinking. But tomorrow you can face this problem with more energy, more rest, and with a better prepared mind. Right now, as you get anxious and panicky in your thinking, may not be the best time. I know it feels like it's the best time to focus on this, but it may be that you need to take a break. Think about something else. This is why sometimes watching TV can make us feel better, because it shifts our thinking away from the stuff that we're starting to get overwhelmed with. Now, I'm not saying don't solve your problems. I'm not saying that you don't work through the challenges in life. I'm just saying notice when you start to feel overwhelmed by these challenges and when your emotional radar is telling you you need to take a break. It's not wrong to take a break. It's not wrong to get up and walk for a minute or redirect your thinking or reconnect with somebody else just to shift your thinking away so that you don't spiral out of control, which might be your typical habit. So shift your focus before you start to spiral down in your thinking. Okay, so what are we saying in this video? Well, what we're saying is it's easy sometimes to let all of the stuff that we have to do in our lives make us feel emotionally stressed out and panic. Now, you may have read that in the past as, oh, because I'm feeling this way, that means I need to focus on this. But I want to change that a little bit, challenge that. Maybe instead of reading it as, because I'm feeling this way, I need to focus on this. Because I'm feeling this way, maybe I need to take a break from this. You know, just like when you touch a stove, the pain, the sensors, they're supposed to tell you, back up away from this. It's too hot. Well, what if you could start to think that way about the way you think? Wow, I'm getting overstressed. Wow, I'm getting panicky and anxious. Wow, I'm getting frustrated and angry. Maybe I need to back up for just a minute. And as you catch yourself in that moment and say, wow, there I go again, and shift your thinking away, you start to learn how to manage your stress rather than your stress managing you. So by practicing this habit of redirecting your thinking, before you start to spiral and changing what you're focusing on for a moment, you can not only reduce the stress in your life, but you also improve your ability to handle those challenges. Because let's face it, you've got to rest and recover if you're going to really be able to handle everything in front of you. You say, but Tom, I've got so much to do. I know, that's why you need to be prepared so that you can do all those things. And part of your preparation is to make sure you're in the right mental frame of mind and the right mental state to be able to face all those challenges. Look at you. You can't possibly hope to get all this stuff done when you're in this anxious, angry, panicky state. You're going to get yourself fired because you're going to say things out loud that maybe you shouldn't say. So when you start to relax and calm yourself down and learn to live a little bit more at ease, accepting life as it is and being a little bit more happy in life and valuing your happiness and valuing your peace of mind, maybe you'll start to see more opportunities in life and less problems. Look how many problems you have. So many problems. Why so many problems? What if you could reframe that a little bit and instead of seeing all these problems, see lots of opportunities? Now, maybe that means you keep a pen next to your and pad of paper next to your bed, and when you start to feel overwhelmed, just write down, okay, tomorrow I've got to make that phone call, and then let it go. Think of it as, I'm going to worry about that tomorrow. I'm not going to worry about it right now because I'm not going to do anything about it right now. So I'm just going to let that sit there on the back burner and deal with it when I'm in a better state to deal with it. Right now at midnight is not the best time to be worried about this. So you're going to find that you have more mental energy, more positivity, and you're better able to focus on the things in life that truly matter. All right, guys, we're not talking about avoiding life's challenges. We're talking about making sure that you're able to really face them with calm, powerful strength and peace in your life. and learning how to catch your thinking before it starts to get a hold of you and lead you down a path you don't want to end up on. You are in control of your thinking. Your thinking shouldn't control you. You should control your thinking. You have to sometimes move your thinking away from, just imagine if you were on a diet. If you're sitting there thinking about cake and thinking about desserts, you got to shift your thinking to something else because you got a goal in mind that you're trying to reach. And one of your goals in life should be to be a happy, peaceful, kind, generous person in life. And these things are not making you more of that. They're making you more of an intense, frustrated, irritated, anxious person. Catching this could make the difference between whether you soar or whether you crash. How long can you keep this up, right? You can't keep this up forever, and you're stressing yourself and everybody else out. So let's live a little bit more peaceful, happy, harmonious lives. I'm in this with you. We're going to do this together. If you need help, find somebody to talk to. Reach out to me. I'd love to work with you. Check out all of my classes and all that stuff. Look at the videos I'm recommended to you and to this playlist. And as always, guys, be present to life. And don't let life get the best of you, right? You get in charge of it, not it getting in charge of you. I'll see you guys next time.